This broadcast is brought to you by Colby Brooks with Century 21 Right Pace Real Estate and buyfrombrooks.com. Let Colby Brooks handle all of your real estate needs. Let's get you caught up on some headlines on NEA Report, starting out with the arrest of a murder suspect in Jonesboro, the first murder of 2020, and now the first arrest of a murder suspect from Jonesboro in 2020. We'll tell you all about the story next. Plus, a woman was hit by a vehicle that then fled the scene. It's a much more serious accident than a just normal hit and run. We'll tell you the latest on that. And a fight at Cedar Heights that took place yesterday involved a group of women jumping a female victim. We'll give you all the details next on NEA Report.
Now, Stan Morris reporting.
Early this morning in Crittenden County, an arrest took place of the murder suspect at the Haven Hotel shooting. LaQuinton Lauderdale was arrested early this morning by a task force. We'll tell you more about that in just a second. He's the suspect in the murder that took place. It was first a shooting at the Haven Hotel. Then several days after that, we learned that Taquan Wilson, one of the victims in the shooting, had passed away. Wilson was shot several times. It's thought that Lauderdale may have also been shot in the incident. We're not totally sure, but Jonesboro police will be questioning him to find out more. That's his mugshot from the Craighead County Detention Center's website, where he was booked in at about 2 a.m. early this morning. We're talking about January 13th, 2020, for those who were watching after the fact. I got the report from Jonesboro Police Department. It says that several different officers from Jonesboro, including Christopher Jefferson and others that I can recognize on this, were working as members of the U.S. Marshals Eastern Arkansas Fugitive Task Force. They received information that Lauderdale, who's been hiding out for several days, was hiding out in Gilmore with his aunt Kirby Jefferson. Investigators went to Gilmore, met with Crittenden County deputies and Arkansas State Police, and before they approached the residence, one of the people in the task force observed Lauderdale and two others enter a silver SUV parked in the driveway. Okay, so officers were getting ready to approach the residence, but then they realized their target is leaving. At this point, they stopped him driving the vehicle, Lauderdale, near the intersection of Front Street and Marnesha Street without incident, and they arrested him. He was transported to Craighead County Detention Center. The stop itself happening early this morning. The report is timed at 1:56 is the time listed on the report that took place. And of course, Lauderdale was arrested on a murder warrant. We'll keep following the story. Jonesboro police are now going to be looking into exactly what happened and what took place that led to an exchange of gunfire on Caraway Road right as the new year and the new decade began. Lauderdale was also, as I mentioned, apparently shot, and so police are going to be looking at that and trying to find out more. It did not appear, at least from what we could see, that there was any photos that would show any injuries. I'm scrolling through here because there was actually a photo released in the early morning hours of Lauderdale being arrested, but his hands are behind his back, so you can't really tell there. We'll be following the story, let you know the latest on this as it progresses. I believe he was before a judge for a bond hearing today. We'll let you know if investigators release any more details about this here on NEA. Was made with Jonesboro Police Department early on Sunday at about 12:31 a.m. and it involved a woman in a pedestrian accident that was hit by a vehicle that then fled the scene. Here's what happened. Police were dispatched to the intersection of North Church and North Main Street. The woman was laying around 5 feet away from the road on the ground, complaining of pain in her feet, legs, ribs, hands, and face. Had road rash visible on all of those areas, also pain in her sides and chest. EMS arrived. She was transported to St. Bernard's, which was not very far away. The victim couldn't really provide much information, but said she was crossing the street. Just before stepping on the sidewalk, she was struck by a vehicle. Measurements were taken of the accident, and police were able to locate it actually appeared to be a piece of plastic from a headlight. It's crazy to think that that busted just from hitting someone. But the piece of a headlight actually had a serial number on it that made it look like that it was a Ford headlight. Also, what appeared to be pieces of a bumper that were white. were also observed. So if you have any information, you might be able to call police. That could really come in handy because the Jonesboro Police Department says that there are no listed suspects and information to follow up on other than it possibly being a Ford vehicle. But obviously, it was a more serious kind of accident with somebody fleeing the scene, because when you leave the scene of an accident with personal injury, that's a felony charge. Contact Jonesboro Police if you have any information, 870-935-5657. Jonesboro Police Department investigating a case from over the weekend, a very serious incident that detailed an alleged assault that then was an alleged rape afterwards. It happened Saturday night. According to the report, the victim 41, the suspect a 44-year-old male. We don't have a lot of details because most of this is still under investigation and most of the report is masked right now. All we know is that there are 3 felony counts under investigation that include aggravated assault on a family or household member, rape, and a terroristic threatening count, first degree, which is threatening serious physical injury or death. The report's MO states the suspect assaulted the victim, then raped the victim. It states that it took place Saturday at about 8 o'clock, between 8:49 or so is when they made the report, although there was continuous updates over the weekend as the case was also being investigated by detectives on Sunday. As mentioned, most of this is masked right now. It's under investigation, and most of the details we wouldn't want to report anyway. However, that disturbing case being reported in Jonesboro and being investigated from over the weekend. The Jonesboro Police Department releasing a video today that shows a theft taking place on January 6th, and they're hoping that the public might be able to help out with this. They're looking for the identity of the suspect that's going to be seen in a couple of seconds, leaving with 2 rolls of wire. A felony theft that happened at NEA Construction on Best Industrial Drive, January 6th. As I mentioned, if you can supply a name, you may have a reward on your way. The tip that leads to an arrest will generate a reward, 870-935-5657. You can also contact police on Facebook. So as we'll watch the video here together, you can really not see a lot, but what you can see is the suspect going over from several rolls of wire, and it's zoomed in here now by police to show us a little more. You see he's got some kind of white sneakers on. He's wearing some sort of mask or a, facial toboggan kind of that pulls down over the face but leaves his eyes open. He's got a red undershirt, a green jacket, blue jeans. Anyway, if you have any idea who this guy might be, 870-935-5657 to contact Jonesboro Police Department and to help him out. The report reference number for the case, if you want to leave a tip, is 142. A report was taken Sunday about a fight at Cedar Heights. It actually involved a group of females allegedly jumping a single female victim. The report was taken late Sunday and described an incident that took place Sunday afternoon between around noon and 2 p.m., according to the report released by the Jonesboro Police Department. The officer that took it spoke to the victim at St. Bernard's. She was describing an assault that had already occurred. According to the report, a group of several females, 4 suspects listed, although their names and most of the information is not really filled in. 4 suspects jumping the victim. This took place at the 1800 block of Cedar Heights Drive. It's a misdemeanor case of battery, an 18-year-old female victim. The only information about the suspects described, one of them is named Tiffany with an I instead of a Y. Police were investigating the case yesterday, but it doesn't look like there's a lot of details on this. It's just hopefully a case that doesn't escalate further past where it already was. Still, a victim ending up in the hospital and apparently being there for several hours late Sunday. So there's a new ordinance in Jonesboro. It went into effect January 2nd, but the city is not going to begin enforcing it until April. And it deals with residences basically that are abandoned, but that would not meet the criteria to be condemned and then to be demolished. And we're talking about property boarding, right? And you can go to neareport.com. You can read all this information. But a press release from the city said that the boarding and securing ordinance is going to be enforced beginning in April. That way owners and residents get time to familiarize themselves with the new law. The ordinance was created, according to the release, to help ensure health, safety, and to preserve property values in Jonesboro, working to eliminate vacant and blighted structures. There's basically 4 conditions that would trigger a requirement for a proper boarding of a residential, commercial, or industrial property. When necessary for public health, safety, and welfare, determined by the chief building official, when deemed a health hazard and safety risk by the chief fire marshal, or when the property is vacant with no connected utilities for 60 days. That's probably the one that's going to be most applicable to people, is the one where a property, such as a rental property, might be vacant for 60 days without utilities connected. However, it's also pretty rare that a rental property, which is going to be generating revenue for somebody, is going to be vacant for that long. The ordinance defines how structures should be secured as well. Boarding materials have to be cut to fit openings, weatherproofed, painted, and maintained with a color that blends with the structure. So it can't be just an obvious board, a particle board perhaps up on a different colored house completely. Broken or damaged windows and doors are to be boarded and are secured within 7 days. Owners required to diligently repair, rehabilitate, or demolish structures within 6 months, with extensions allowed only with a permit for repair, demolition, and ongoing criminal investigation or proof of an undue hardship. It says that permits to repair, rehabilitate, or demolish a structure have to be acquired within 6 months of notification by the city. Failure to take action may result in a nuisance, abatement, condemnation, or citation with, fines of no less than $100 per day. The idea being that this will hopefully make more beautiful residences stay that way in Jonesboro and keep property values secure. Would love to know what you think. Tell us what you think in the chat about the new property boarding ordinance and it going into effect in April. Do you think it's going to make a difference? And do you think it's perhaps fair or not? We want your feedback here on NEA Report. Thanks for watching NEA Report today. We really do appreciate your time. If you enjoyed what we did, please like, share, subscribe, support local news, maybe even become a supporter for just 99 cents a month. I'm Stan Morris, and now you're up to date on NEA Report.